Here, and look who's with us is John. How you doing, John? John
I'm
Erskine,
great.
everybody.
I'm
Now
great,
he is
thanks.
you're kind of leading the charge on the organizations, right?
That's right. My team is working on that.
Right. Now we saw you a little bit in the video itself, but organizations is a big deal. It sounds like a lot of fun. Is it a good time doing that?
It is. It's really cool because we're focusing on a core system that's going to be used so many different ways throughout this game experience. So it's really cool to be working on that.
No, you say use different ways. What do you mean by that? I mean, how's it?
Well, each module might utilize the organization function in a little bit different ways as it relates to that module. And it's not necessarily up to my team to define how that would happen for the different modules, but those teams themselves might want to have some aspects that are unique to first-person shooter playing that aren't relevant in dogfighting or something. So
Right. So you're setting the sandbox for them to define how their organization's set up and what its primary focus is, or anything.
that's the goal.
That's pretty cool. And I know it was a big hit for us when we did it in October. People were like, oh my God, this is really going to be fun. Now, it's been a little bit. How's it coming? How are we doing?
Great. We've done several small updates to the system that probably people might not notice. We've added a bunch of additional functionality and capacity on the back end. We've tweaked some of the algorithms that show how organizations are ranked, and we've improved the system that's involved in inviting people into the organization and managing that process. So we've done a lot of small incremental updates to the system since the major launch in January. And as you probably already know from watching the video, we have some new stuff that's planned that's going to be coming online in the near future.
Well, that's cool because I know people are really looking for it. Now, they're going to be pretty flexible, right? The organizations themselves, as you talked about. So are you going to is there going to be one hierarchy? Like we talked earlier in the show about, if one guy ran off with all the loot or something like that. Or, I mean, are you going to they're going to be able to be self-governed, or you let them set up how that works?
The goal is for organizations to be governed by the organization, more so than to enforce rules onto the organization. But one guiding principle that we have from the design side is that we don't want to enable organizations to create bad experiences for people, but we want to create interesting experiences. So,
Right.
In the question that I heard you guys talking about, it would seem like as an organization member, just like you said, you should be able to evaluate, like, what's the leadership of this organization like, and do I trust these people? And I think that's kind of an interesting thought process to go through as a player. So that's our goal as a design principle.
That's cool. And one of the reasons we do all this together with the citizens out there is, once we get that out into the verse, we're gonna, they're gonna be able to give us feedback and what they like, and we always try to get everything we can in there, but sometimes. We might miss a few things that they think are important, and I'm sure they'll let us know.
That's right.
Now, and we'll be malleable and agile enough to change for that, right?
Yep. And that's one reason why we like to build things in a modular fashion. It's definitely a core value of our entire company, and it applies here too. If we can launch the next piece that we're confident in, it'll answer some of the questions we might have about the piece after that and the piece after that. So we can use that feedback to guide our direction over time.
So, how do secret organizations work?
So, in the new, in the upcoming module of organization system, you'll be able to join more than one organization, and you'll always have a main organization, and your additional organizations would be considered affiliates.
Okay.
And we have to have something like that so that you can keep track of, like, scores and ranks and responsibilities in your main organization, and your affiliate organizations are not quite as formal. And so if you're a member of an affiliate organization, you could choose not to show that to your other organization mates in your main organization or even in your other affiliate organizations. Now, the guild, the organization leader, I tend to call it guild because that's what we call it in a lot of other games too, right? But the organization leader can tell that you're in another organization, but you might keep it secret even from them. And so they may have some questions for you to say, why are you in another organization and you won't show me? And so we think that would be an interesting conversation to have.
It would be an interesting conversation. It might avoid a little bit of griefing that's going on in some other games out there.
Not joining my organization.
Yeah, exactly. You tell me what organizations. We have ways of making
We
you talk.
do have ways to make you talk. That's right.
If you join multiple organizations, we just kind of talked about this. You have a choice of letting the primary know what you're in or not. So it may be a requirement for that organization. So say I have an organization, and I want to make sure that it's a complete trust. And so part of the requirement of being in there is you have to show me any affiliates you're in.
Yep.
So the choice then becomes, if somebody comes in and says, I'm sorry, I'm just not willing to do that, well, then that organization has a choice of, letting that person break the rules or...
That's right. Boot them.
Boot them out.
And, we had some... as you can imagine, we had very lengthy discussions about some of these design decisions, and we talked about whether we should make it an option for the guild leader to flag that as a system requirement to say it has to be that way.
Right.
And ultimately, we decided that it was more interesting to not make it something that the system enforces, but that it's more about the communication and the organization's governance policies of their own. And so the system doesn't force you to do one thing or the other, but the organization leader and the people that are joining the organization or maybe even already members of the organization will have to have that discussion amongst themselves.
Right. So you want them to have the power. That's completely
That's right.
it. We want them to define their own set of rules and act on those rules.
That's right.
We want to make it a robust thing, and that's cool. So what else? Now we've got the big dogfighting module reveal coming up, followed closely after that by the release. Or what are you guys doing to support that? What's going on with Turbulent and the publishing side of things?
We have a lot of cool things planned for dogfighting. The main things that you'll notice are that when you go to download the game, that first experience is going to change because today when that happens, we know that you're going to the Hangar module.
Right.
And the Hangar module is going to remain the hub of all the interactions that you have with other modules, but we're adding quite a bit of functionality to that process so that people who are new to the game can understand what the different modules are, what the status of each module is in its development path. We're going to include some other relevant information like the monthly studio updates that we're preparing are going to be available in this page in a way that makes sense. So we're trying to bring together all the information about the state of the game and the different modules into one place so that people who may be new to the game or new to a particular module can tell what's up.
Highlights.
Yeah, and so that's going to be cool, and that's coming with the launch of the dogfighting module. We're also creating a system of a scoring system, a leaderboard system that'll be available. And there's some pretty cool stuff that we're working on for that. There's going to be a variety of different leaderboards for different types of things that are going on in the game. I'm not sure if it's going to be available right at first, but we're also working on a leaderboard system that's tied to organizations so that organizations can have rankings against other organizations, and so there's a lot of cool gameplay that'll come from that. And the way that we work on the platform team is that we're building these little pieces and they all start to fit together. So that's an example, right? Is that there's a fair bit of stuff coming in the new organization version that we just talked about that'll also have some application.
Say that 3 times real fast.
I can't.
Organization version. I don't think we can do
Internally, we call them drops, right?
Yeah.
So we're calling multi-org membership drop 1.5, and then this other stuff is drop 2. So there's some functions in 1.5 that'll also apply to these leaderboards. So the way we work is it all fits together, and we have a big roadmap of stuff, and we're working on this piece, and we'll pull it in over here. And so I think it's going to be pretty cool the way that this stuff, that your experience on the web is going to supplement your experience in the game and the way it'll tie it all together.
It's all about immersion. Now that's important. And remember what they say about software development. The quality is job 1.1. So that sounds like a lot of fun, man. I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank subscribers and pledgers, particularly subscribers, for allowing us to do these crazy shows like this.
Have a nice day, Star Citizen.